All right, good morning, class. Today we're going to be learning about the Renaissance artist Michelangelo. He was very well known in the Renaissance art period, and he was best known for his detailed works of the human figure when he would draw, paint, and sculpt it. So we're going to begin with a PowerPoint presentation here. Let me pull a couple things up here. All right. So Michelangelo was born in Caprice, Italy, outside of Florence on March 6, 1475. He was thought to be the greatest artist who ever lived. He was a sculptor, a painter, and an architect. He died in Rome on February 18, 1564, at the age of 89. Michelangelo lived during the Renaissance period. Renaissance means to be born again. It was also during the 14th to the 17th century. Oh, sorry, can you see? Oh, here we go.
Yeah, right.
It's a little better. Sorry about that. Viewed as a bridge between the Middle Ages, where illiteracy, wars, disease, and barbaric invasions occurred, and the modern era, it was the emphasis placed on education, strong-centered governments, and an appreciation for the arts. Famous artists known as Leonardo da Vinci and Raphael were also influential painters during the Renaissance. So Michelangelo, like I had stated, was a sculptor and a drawer, but he also painted. He primarily used a technique known as fresco, which means fresh. Fresco is painting with a water-based pigment mixed with coloring powder onto a layer of plaster that is still wet. When the plaster dries, the color becomes a permanent part of the finished surface. The most famous fresco painting was Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel in Rome. Have any of you heard of the Sistine Chapel?
Yes.
Any of you been to the Sistine Chapel?
I've been there.
Oh, yes, I've been there as well. It's very beautiful.
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, no. You'll get there someday.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple things about the Sistine Chapel. It was commissioned by Pope Julius II to sculpt a tomb, but the project was switched to painting the chapel ceiling instead. He was given carte blanche and painted his vision of the Old Testament, which were stories in 9 large rectangular panels. It contains approximately 400 life-size figures over a space of 5,600 square feet. He painted using custom scaffolding 59 feet above the floor. It was completed between 1508 and 1512. After Michelangelo completed the work, he said, "After 4 tortured years, I feel as old and weary as Jeremiah. I was only 37, yet my friends did not recognize the old man I had become." It took him a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you wouldn't mind pulling up the link that I sent to you all on your iPads, we're going to take a 360-degree look at the Sistine Chapel. And there's some pluses and minuses. You can also finger swipe back and forth and take a look around a little bit. All right, so it was once thought that Michelangelo painted the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel while laying on his back. This turns out to be a myth. Michelangelo, in fact, painted above himself onto the ceiling while standing. To put this into perspective, I want you all to hold your iPad above your head and imagine yourself painting.
Okay. Hopefully we can see.
How does it feel? Does it seem odd, difficult, uncomfortable, perhaps?
Extremely difficult.
Uncomfortable
for sure.
I'd say in the beginning it might be uncomfortable. Well,
Yeah,
in the beginning,
so-
no, after you do it so many times or for so long, it become uncomfortable. And
Oh,
I probably
yes.
had paint all over my face before it even finished.
It was very messy. So that is the perspective that we are going to complete our next project in. And keep in mind that Michelangelo painted in that way for 4 years. It was quite the accomplishment.
Oh, wow.
So now that you all know more about Michelangelo and his painting, if you could please pull up on your iPads the quiz that I sent to you over Google Forms onto your iPads. And you're going to complete that before we paint.
Wow. Yeah. No, just... Okay.
I apologize, my child's in the background.
Oh, that's now.
Is everyone doing okay?
Yes.
Okay.
When you're done, just submit.
Yes,
Or
please.
we review, or we'll review the questions.
No, if once you're complete, then go ahead and submit it, and then you guys will be able to watch me do a demonstration of painting for you all to watch before we begin.
Okay.
And then once I've completed my demonstration, then I'm going to review all of your quizzes, and then I'm going to come around the room while everyone is painting, and I'm going to clarify any areas that weren't fully understood. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Recorded.
Good. All right.
But
So
you
are
don't
you
want to see
already?
the scores?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay. So you all ready to begin? All right. Well, thank you. We will get ready for the demonstration now.